I want to see you solve it. Buzz down kinematics.
Solve it, kinematics.
I want to see you solve it.
Solve.
Use the pencil and write the step down.
Write it down.
Distance, velocity, initial. Solve it.
Solve it.
Solve it. Solve it. Solve it. Solve it on the class.
Solve.
Down kinematics.
Buzz down, kinematics.
I want to see you solve it.
Solve.
Use a pencil and write the step down.
Write it down.
Velocity is acceleration. Now you know.
Now you know.
Solve it. Solving. Solve it. Solve it. Solve it on the class.
Class.
Faith and Jess, baby. Yeah, aight. Tatiana walked down the street.
The street, baby.
She was walking with constant motion. We know 3 variables, so we can solve using
Kinematics.
I want to see you solve it.
Solve it.
Use the variables on your paper.
Yeah.
Get me an answer. You made a mistake, so you had to backtrack in your equation.
Your equation.
Distance is the first variable. Tatiana walked 20 meters. Ooh, it
20
took her a time
meters.
of 600 seconds to walk. In her running, she had constant motion. She had an
CONSTANTANA.
initial velocity of 0 ms. What was her velocity final of her trip by the way her acceleration was?
8 ms squared.
Buzz down kinematics. I want to see you solve it.
Solve it.
What I know, need to know. I solve those equations for the class.
Solve it up.
Now divide by your constant.
Divide it.
Multiply when really needed.
Multiply up.
I need my equations with answers. Faith and Jess, baby. Yeah, aight. Tatiana ran on the grass.
The grass.
She was running with linear motion, and we know 3 variables, so we can solve using
Kinematics.
I want to see you solve it.
Solve it.
Use the variables on your paper.
Yeah.
Get me an answer. You made a mistake, so you had to backtrack in your equation.
Your equation.
Distance is the first variable. Tatiana ran 30 meters. Ooh.
30
Her initial
meters.
velocity was 0 ms. Ain't no stopping. She had constant motion.
CONSTANTANA.
She had a final velocity of 5 ms. What was the total time of her trip by the way her acceleration was?
4 ms squared.
Buzz down kinematics. I want to see you solve it.
Solve it.
What did I need to know? I solve those equations for the class.
Solve it up.
Now divide by your constant.
Divide it.
Multiply when really needed.
Multiply.
I need my equations with answers. Yes, baby. Yeah, aight. Tatiana walked her cat, Carlos.
Carlos the cat.
She was walking with constant motion, and we know 3 variables, so we can solve using
Kinematics.
I want to see you solve it.
Solve it.
Use all the variables on your paper.
Yeah.
Get me an answer. You made a mistake, so you had to backtrack in your equation.
Your equation.
This is the first variable. Tatiana walked Carlos 10 meters. Ooh,
10
her initial
meters.
velocity was 2 ms. Ain't no stopping. She had constant motion.
CONSTANTANA.
Her final velocity was 8 ms. What was her acceleration by the way her total time was?
100 seconds.
Buzz down kinematics. I want to see you solve it.
Solve it.
What I know, need to know. I solve those equations for the class.
Solve it up.
Now divide by your constant.
Divide it.
Multiply when really needed.
Multiply.
I need my equations with answers. Yeah, aight. Tatiana skipped down the block.
The block.
She was walking with constant motion. We know 3 variables, so we can solve using
Kinematics.
I want to see you solve it.
Solve it.
Use the variables on your paper.
Yeah.
Get me an answer. You made a mistake, so you had to backtrack in your equation.
Your equation.
Time is the first variable. Tatiana skipped for a time of 200 seconds.
200.
Her initial velocity was 3 ms. And no stopping. She had constant motion.
CONSTANTANA.
She had a final velocity of 12 ms. What was her distance by the way her acceleration was?
7 ms
Buzz down
squared.
kinematics. I want to see you solve it.
Solve it.
What did I need to know? I solve those equations for the class.
Solve it up.
Now divide by your constant.
Divide it.
Multiply when really needed.
Multiply.
I need my equations with answers. Yes, baby. Yeah. Tatiana dropped a tennis ball.
Tennis ball.
The ball was a free-falling object, and we know 3 variables, so we can solve using
Kinematics.
I want to see you solve it.
Solve it.
Use the variables on your paper.
Yeah.
Get me an answer. You made a mistake, so you had to backtrack in your equation.
Your equation.
Time is the first variable. The ball was in the air for 100 seconds.
100.
Its final velocity was 8 ms. And no throwing, it was free-falling.
Free falling.
The ball's peak distance was 3 meters. What was its initial velocity by the way her acceleration was?
4 ms squared.
Buzz down kinematics. I want to see you solve it.
Solve it.
What did I need to know? Aight. Solve those equations for the class.
Solve it up.
And divide by your constant.
Divide it.
Multiply when really needed.
Multiply.
I need my equations with answers.
Tatiana, don't you know you have to be CONSTANTANA? Tatiana, don't you know you need 3 or more variables? Tatiana, don't you know? Tatiana, don't you know? Tatiana, Tatiana, Tatiana. The equations are here to describe motion. emotion. You can use them to solve for unknown, and you can use them without linear motion and less than three variables. Less than three variables.
Record scratch. Bust down kinematics. Pick it. What? That doesn't sound. I missed it. Bust down kinematics. Pick it up. No, that's not the right thing. Bust down kinematics. I want to see you solve it. Use a pencil and write this set down.
Write it down.
Distance, velocity, initial. Solve it. Solve it. Solve it. Solve it on the class. Solve. Bust down kinematics. I want to see you solve it. Use the pencil and write this stuff down.
Write it down.
Change velocity is acceleration, and you know.
Now you know.
Solve it. Solve it. Solve it. Solve it for the class. Class.